Okay, we're going to have a look at opening some images, cutting and pasting, and moving around with the layers and things like that. So File, Open, let's go and find an image. So this is just a JPEG. There we go. And let's go and open another picture as well. Open. If we switch this view on, then we can see what pictures we've got. Let's get our Pac-Man with a cheese. Okay, so let's say we want to combine these two images. We want to put this Pac-Man up in this little screen up here. So we're going to have to go and use some kind of selection tool. We could use this elliptical marquee. And what we could do is we could try and select over here and hope that we're going to get things right. And we're not. So let's deselect that. Perhaps a better way would be if we brought some guides down and try and get them in the middle of this cheese. So we've got the guides from inside the rulers, and then we'll use the marquee tool, the circular marquee tool again. But if we hold down Shift, we hold down Alt and Shift, then it'll come out from the center and it will stay in proportion. So we're slightly off, but we can move that selection down a bit using the cursor keys. Excuse me, there we go. So we've selected the cheese area. We've missed this bit though. So what we can now do is we can add to this selection. So if we go to our lasso tools here, we'll use this middle one, polygonal lasso tool. So I just want to zoom in so that you can see what's happening. So the normal way that the zoom tool works, the selection tool, is if I started to click it would lose this selection that we've already got. If I hold down the Shift key, it's going to add to that selection. So I can just click here. I'll just click around it a little bit. And then see the little circles appeared. That means that I've completed this selection. So I've gone all the way around there and I've selected that extra bit that I wanted. So if I go up to Edit and Copy, and now I'll go back onto this one, excuse me, and I will go Edit and Paste. So these two images have a slightly different colour profile. So one is going to be converted to the other, which isn't a problem. There we go. There's our shape. And so now if we use the Move tool here, we can click and drag this around and put it wherever we want to. So we want to put it up here and change the size of it. First though, I'm going to try and get rid of this middle section here. So what I'm first going to do is I'm just going to look down here at my layers. This is my layers palette, and you can see there's a little preview of each of the images that are in these layers. So I'm going to turn off the background layer so that I can't see it, and I'm just left with this layer 1, and you can see there's a little checkerboard behind it, which means that it's transparent, so obviously we can see what's below it. So I'm going to zoom in and press Command and plus, or I could have used the magnifying glass to zoom in. If I hold down the Alt key when I'm using the magnifying glass, I can zoom out. Okay, right, so to get rid of this bit in here, there's a couple of different ways we could use. We could use one of these two tools, the magic wand or the quick selection tool. Let's go and click in there. You see that's selected all of that area and I can just press delete, and I can do the same with that little bit there and that bit there, and then just deselect. Let's just zoom in a bit more. So I want to get rid of this black line here, so I can just using this polygonal lasso tool, I'm just going to click and click, and then I'm going to go down here, click, and then go and join them up. Got the little circle, that's fine. Deselect that, go up here and do the same again. Delete that. And then we've got these little bits here, so I'm going to use this version of the lasso tool now, which just means that I can just draw freehand over these bits that I don't want and get rid of them. Okay, I press Command and 0, get back to seeing my image full size like that. Now I'm going to go and switch back on my background layer. Okay, so if I use my move tool, which is this top one here, then I can move this around, and what I want to do is I want to put it in this little screen up here. So I'm just going to put it over the top of that. Obviously it's too big, so there's a couple of different ways that I could go about sorting this out. I could go up to Edit and Transform and Scale, or using this move tool we have Show Transform controls available to be switched on, so I can change the size of it there, which is just the same as going to this. There's other versions of this transform, so you can distort things and twist them around and stuff like that, but I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to hold down Shift again to keep it in proportion and drag it around like that so that I can get it small enough to fit in here. Just move it around with the cursor keys as well. If you accidentally grab this center point here, this is actually a pivot point. So what I'm able to do, as well as move it around like that, I can rotate this. So if I get my cursor near one of these corner handles, you can see I can tip it around like that. And it's pivoting around this, which I just moved. So if we put that back in the middle, you'll see that it'll just spin around like that. Okay, so if I'm happy with where I've put this, I'm not, I'm just going to move it up a little bit. I can press return or on the keyboard, or I can commit to this transformation by pressing this little tick up here. There we go, and it's still got the box around it because we've got this switched on show transform control, so I'm just going to turn that off. And there we go. Now we've got our little Pac-Man shape inside this little oscilloscope screen.